Hello, everybody, and a warm welcome to this Protection Insights podcast. Joining me today is Bonnie Earle, who is the Strategic Account Manager over at MetLife. And in this protection podcast today, I thought it'd be really good to remind ourselves about the MetLife protection proposition. Now, Bonnie, you've actually got two protection products for the personal protection market, and they're both a bit different to mainstream protection covers. And as at June 2021, when we're recording this, we can also announce some really good improved commissions for MetLife proposition, and you'll see these reflected on the commission tables. Now, there are some really good opportunities to position these with specific types of clients, and that's what we're going to look at today. Typical clients, though, that you will be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So, Bonnie, you've got these two protection products. You've got Multiprotect and also Mortgage Safe. In this podcast, we're going to talk about Multiprotect. Can you start by describing what that is?
Yes, so Multiprotect is a non-underwritten protection product policy. It provides a lump sum benefit to customers in the event of various injuries, so broken bones and even hospitalisation if you're unwell. So I describe it as a kind of lifestyle cover because we're protecting the customer against everyday events that could actually happen to any one of us. And we've also got 3 add-on covers specifically designed to protect people with active lifestyles, people with children, and also healthcare professionals as well.
Okay, so to be clear, when we're talking about lifestyle cover, we mean accidents, injuries, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's one part of it. We have lots of claims from people just doing everyday things like injuring themselves, playing rugby, doing a bit of DIY and falling off a ladder, breaking a bone, or even kids falling over in the playground and breaking their arm. There's lots and lots of different examples which you can find in our claims case study booklet as well. And the other side of the policy is the hospitalisation due to illness, which is a benefit that customers would have after holding the policy for 12 months or more. And last year we saw 89% of our hospitalisation claims were due to sickness rather than accident at all. So it really is a cover for everyday lives.
Right, okay. And Multiprotect covers sports. Have you got any examples of that?
Yeah, we've got lots of different examples of this, again, in our claims case study booklet. So, for example, a customer who came off their mountain bike, fell down an embankment and broke his collarbone and 2 ribs, and then had to spend 3 days in hospital. Because we cover so many high-risk sports, people with active lifestyles make up a huge part of our client base. So, yeah, this is a real key part of Multiprotect.
And you mentioned high-risk sports.
Absolutely, because that's when people really need the cover. So we're happy to cover rugby players, horse riding, MMA, even cage fighting. So most customers are actually really surprised that they can get cover for these types of sports, which is why it's so important for advisors to have the conversations about Multiprotect, just to give customers all the options to protect themselves.
Definitely. Sounds straightforward. So who would you describe then, Bonnie, as the target market for Multiprotect? Could you give us some examples?
Yeah, so a key part would be self-employed people, particularly the manual trades, also people with active lifestyles and families, primarily because these customers will really be able to relate to the policy and because they're most likely to have experienced an accident or injury in the past. And just to give you an example of this from myself, it was actually just before I started working for MetLife, so I didn't even know about Multiprotect at this time. My partner's a London taxi driver. He has life insurance and critical illness. And about 6 months before I started working for MetLife, he came off his vintage Lambretta. Never come off it before, but he came off, he broke his collarbone, his shoulder, and 3 or 4 ribs, and then had to spend a couple of weeks in hospital having it all put back together and plates put in and so on. And being a self-employed taxi driver, it was quite difficult for him to find any kind of income protection. So all he had was critical illness and life cover. And he couldn't work for 11 or 12 weeks, had no income coming in. So if he'd had Multiprotect at that time, if I'd been working for MetLife at the time and I knew about it, he would have got about 10 grand paid out, which would have been a huge help and would have also speeded up his recovery as well with sort of extra physio, these sorts of things. But needless to say, he has cover now.
So it's a good example of where it fits, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I read that you've actually got some optional covers as well, Bonnie. So what I might describe as maybe upsell opportunities. Can you talk about these?
Yes, so we've got optional covers for active lifestyle, children's cover and also healthcare cover, which can all be added for just £1 per unit. So the active lifestyle cover covers full ligament tears, tendon ruptures and also dislocations that need surgical intervention. Then you've got the children's cover, which will protect all of your customers' children aged between 6 months and 18, and then 23 if they're in full-time education. And that's £1 for all of the children. And then you've got your healthcare cover, which is specifically for people working in the healthcare industry who are just at a higher risk of contracting things like septicemia from MRSA, HIV, both forms of hepatitis. And as I said, all of these are available for just £1 a unit.
Right. So on the subject of pricing, let's talk about that. You've got this unique way of tailoring the protection solution and you call it units, and the pricing is really transparent, isn't it? So if we take a look at an example, let's say I've got a client, Bonnie, and he's called John. He's 32, plays five-a-side football in the park with his friends. Multiprotect, is that going to be suitable for somebody like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in my case study example, let me think about this. So he wants a couple of units of core cover, so that's to double up the broken bones part of the cover, which is something that's important to him. He's also got young children. As such, he'd like to add on 2 units of child cover. And then going back to that football hobby, let's just say he'd like to add on 2 more units of active lifestyle cover. And that's because of those, what you call the ligament tears, the tendon ruptures, dislocations, that kind of thing. So how easy is it for me to work out the cost of all of that?
Easy peasy. All you need to do is go to page 10 on your product brochure and you'll see all the pricing and the covers. So for you, you've added 2 units of core cover. So that's £16 per month because it's £8 per unit. Then you've added 2 units of children's cover. So that's £2 per month because the optional covers always have to mirror the core cover. And then you also wanted 2 units of the active lifestyle cover. So again, another £2. So that's a total premium of £20. Simple as
Right.
that.
That is easy to understand, and I think it's a refreshingly simple way to quote. It's a shame not everybody does it that way. I think from the client point of view, though, they can see exactly what they're getting for the money. So we can talk about the benefits, and these are all really quite reasonably priced, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And because there's no underwriting, the price is the same for everyone. So you don't actually even need to quote on this.
Okay, you just mentioned applications. So what about the process for applications? What does that look like?
So there are 2 options when applying for Multiprotect. You can either apply through Solution Builder if you use that system. Alternatively, you can apply via our own portal. The process is really, really simple because there's no underwriting questions. So an application will take you between 5 to 10 minutes from start to finish and your customer will be on risk straight away. So it's really quick and simple.
Fantastic. So what would you say are the key learning points from this podcast today as we conclude, Bonnie?
I'd say the key thing for me is that if you're speaking to anyone who's self-employed, has an active lifestyle or has children, just have that conversation with them about Multiprotect because they'll be able to relate to this type of cover. And a lot of people don't even realise this type of insurance is available. So just make them aware of the options available to them so that they can make an informed decision when it comes to protecting themselves and their family.
Fantastic. Really good. So we've done a whistle-stop tour through the whole thing there. So thank you so much, Bonnie, for joining us on this podcast today. And obviously for you guys, the advisors tuning into this, I hope you found it really useful. So until next time, it's bye for now.